Hi guys, it's Marc Zicree, Mr. Sci-Fi, also known as Marc Zicree of Space Command. It's Labor Day weekend. I'm a little scruffy because I've been kicking back and having a lovely weekend with Elaine. But also we've been working on Space Command. Lots to talk to you about, both in terms of science fiction in general and my world in particular. It's been a little while since I've done a Mr. Sci-Fi video because I've been very busy making science fiction. So we'll just give you a little bit of a check-in today. In terms of what I've been watching and reading and all of that, I recently read Ready Player One. The author of that was at Comic-Con. I heard him on a panel. I was very impressed with him. It's about video games and reality versus fake reality. It's very, very fun. It has a lot of 1980s references. It's just been bought by Spielberg to be made into a movie. Also, The Martian is coming out in a few weeks. I'm very much looking forward to that. The film by Ridley Scott is based on a book I very much like by Andy Weir. In addition to that, I've been listening to Journey into Space, which is a terrific 1950s science fiction story radio show from the BBC about the first man landing on Mars. So it's definitely a Mars-themed period. I highly recommend Journey into Space by Charles Chilton. You can find it online. There's the first one was a trip to the moon, and the second one was a trip to Mars, and the third one is what happens after that. And it's just a great radio show. Beyond that, Mad Max Fury Road came out on DVD and Blu-ray, and I was watching it yet again in 3D and watching all of the extras. It's a phenomenal tour de force by all of those involved. Charlize Theron is just terrific, and it has a lot of practical effects. It's just phenomenal, and the extras are breathtaking. There's no audio commentary on it. Sadly, there should be, and I'm sure that in the future they'll have one because it's obvious that they should. And then we've been working on Space Command. We're editing the film. It's coming along very, very well. We're generating visual effects. We'll have a refined rough cut in the next week or two, and then we'll show it to our friends and get notes. And Profiles in History is also auctioning off some of my collection from To Kill a Mockingbird and Blade Runner and Twilight Zone and Forbidden Planet and Star Trek, Mark Leonard's Vulcaneers, all sorts of cool stuff. Because I'm raising a war chest to do VFX and post for Space Command. Also, we're going to be doing a crowdfunding campaign. More about that very, very shortly. There's some very interesting things in the works, and I've been rewriting the second Space Command film, so we're getting ready for that. I've been working on trailers for the other 5 Space Command films. It's just, it's a fascinating journey between, when I'm reading and watching TV and going to the movies. I feel very much in a tradition, and I feel very much in a conversation with those who have been and are making science fiction all the way back from the 19th century to now. H.G. Wells is a favorite writer of mine. In fact, one of the things I'm auctioning off in Profiles in History is a signed copy of H.G. Wells' script of things to come. It was published in book form, and so this is the first edition of the book signed by H.G. Wells back in 1935. So it's pretty phenomenal. And it's funny because, I love collecting things, but also even more, I love making things, making films, making television. And, the other thing I did was I taught a class with showrunners. Showrunners are the executive producers who run network dramas and comedies, and I had a lot of the science fiction showrunners come on a weekend class. Well, we'll be making the audio and video of that available. We'll probably be selling that to people who are interested in learning how to create and pitch and run and sell TV shows. But my friend Michael Nankin, who directed Battlestar Galactica and more recently has been the executive producer and director on Defiance, was there, and Mark Fergus, who co-wrote Children of Men and Iron Man and is now co-running with Narain Shankar and his writing partner Huck Ostby a new science fiction show called The Expanse. So I'm also reading that. There's a series of novels under sort of the umbrella title The Expanse. I'm reading the first one, Leviathan Wakes, because again I heard those writers at Comic-Con on a panel, very impressed with them, and it's being made into a science fiction show that, although it's not like Space Command tonally, because Space Command is a hopeful vision of the future, it takes place in our solar system, so it's sort of a similar stomping ground of Mars and Ceres and the outer planets and so forth, and I'm enjoying it quite a lot. And so Mark Fergus was there at our showrunner class, and we're going to have Ron Moore coming shortly of Battlestar Galactica and Outlander and Star Trek The Next Generation. We had Joe Dougherty of Pretty Little Liars, executive producer of that show. We had, who else did we have? Just a batch of folks. It was really great fun. We had Bradley Thompson of Battlestar Galactica and The Strain, executive producer of those, and it was and gosh, who else? Oh, Rockne O'Bannon, who created Farscape and Sequest and Alien Nation and Defiance and Cult. He came on the last day, and Glenn Mazzaro, who was executive producer, showrunner of The Walking Dead, and now of a new show called Damien. So they were just talking about how you create a show, how you run a show. And the fun part for me of doing these classes, in addition to spreading the real information, which is very different from what you'll often read in books and hear from people who don't know what they're talking about, is that I also learn, because Space Command, as many of you know, is intended to be a show, a TV show, that the 6 films I'm writing are actually intended as the 12 episodes of the first season. And that's what we're cooking along on doing. So we're also closing down the physical studio and moving the sets either to a larger space or putting them in storage until we're shooting. Again, the fascinating thing about this whole journey is that you learn what works and what doesn't, and you learn to be extremely pragmatic. And because the thing is getting the work made, getting it made well, having it be wonderful and moving, and getting it out to an audience. And so, you know, a lot of it is trial and error. Even when you're working on a TV show, you'll write an episode and you'll see what works, and then you'll say, okay, that actor can act, or sometimes that one can't, so let's not give them monologues anymore. And then you move forward, and hopefully you create something that's truthful and moving and fun. And I can't tell you, today we're going to be editing, Elaine and I, with Dave Edison, our editor, and looking at this footage and seeing it come together into scenes and looking for emotional nuances and finding the way to have it be truthful and moving and fun. I just can't tell you what a thrill it is. So anyway, so that's basically the Mr. Sci-Fi check-in for the day. We'll be giving you a lot more information, a lot more fun in the days to come. One of the things I did is I also had a birthday in the last couple of weeks, and as did Elaine. Our birthdays, her birthday's August 21st, mine is August 25th, and at various key birthdays I write a letter to myself to be read in 10 years, and so I did that over a number of years, and I've reread those letters, and I'm about to write another one to myself to be read in 10 years. So I'll be reading some excerpts from those letters in the next Mr. Sci-Fi video, and we'll check them out and see what what I had to say and whether it makes sense. It does, actually, and I was actually very moved by what my younger self had to say to my older self. So that's it for now, Mr. Sci-Fi, Marc Zicree of Space Command. So spread the word, subscribe, let people know about this, and we'll talk again real soon. Bye-bye.